when the plot definitely thickens here. When we first discussed this, there were 9 openings. Then Atlanta, Baltimore, Miami, the Giants, and Tennessee filled their positions, leaving us with 4 openings. But then McDermott got fired and brought us back to 5 on Monday.
Right.
So that's what we have left. And actually, there was a hire not too long before we got on. The Dolphins hired this Jeff
Oh,
Halfley person. I didn't even know who it was. The DC,
yeah. I'm
the
not. I'm not
DC from
totally
Green Bay.
familiar.
He's a defensive coordinator from Green Bay. Not sure about that hire, but we'll get into that. But we're back at 5 openings. Arizona, Buffalo, Cleveland, Las Vegas, and Pittsburgh. What do you think about the hires that have been made thus far, big dude? And I'll run them down again. Atlanta hired Stefanski. The Giants hired John Harbaugh. Tennessee hired Robert Saleh. Baltimore hired Jesse Minter, who was the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. And Miami hired Jeff Halfley, defensive coordinator from Green Bay. So if I'm looking at this, there's only one purely offensive coach hire. That was Atlanta. And I guess Harbaugh's more of a hybrid. He kind of does it all, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me. I don't think he's definitively DC or defensive or offensive oriented. So out of
Right.
those coaches, Atlanta's the only coach that went with a so-called offensive expert. What
Yeah.
are your what are your
That's what it
thoughts
looks
on those
like.
particular hires?
Mm-hmm. It looks like their focus is on defense. I mean, you like I said, you have especially with the Ravens. Ravens going with their theme. They have mentor. Um, then all of a sudden you have Selah who's there, and then you Stefanski. I suppose he's offense, but I'm not even sure.
Yeah, he's considered that. He was an OC before. He's
Yeah,
considered an offensive genius guy. Yeah.
right. And it'll be interesting to see how he handles that situation. But I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think Jesse Minter coming is going to be interesting to see if he can get beyond. Well, starting with him, I think it was an interesting hire because I don't know about him being fully in charge. I don't know. I know he has the spirit. I think the players would get behind him. The
Mm-hmm.
question is what are the players are looking for? And I guess I'd like to know what made them make Minter their head guy because I know Minter was also up for the Raiders job. So a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of people wondered what they were going to do with him. But
Where's
uh,
Mentor? Mentor, where is he? I
He
missed
took
something.
the
Ravens.
Ravens job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was before the show. So Mentor, I think is going to inspire. I think some enthusiasm that was missing, like you said. I mean, one thing about Harbaugh not being necessarily an expert either, and I know he used to be the Eagles special team coach. I think he's going to bring the CEO part of it for Harbaugh. For the Giants, you're going to need to be a CEO type of coach and like it. A lot of coaches, from what I saw in the NFL, don't like that model as much. And I saw that was the other thing I saw. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I just saw the Giants fired, I think, the vice president of, I think, strategic something. They just fired that person who was the vice president of it. And I think, to be honest with you, they may have gotten fired because I think they wanted one less person that was over Harbaugh. And Harbaugh, I could see him asking for that. Like, how many people are going to tell me what to do and who are they going to let coach? Because I really don't think the Giants really let Dayball coach. I didn't see that. I saw his
Let-
frustration on the sideline, and
Steph,
of
let me
course,
hop in for a minute, Steph, before you go on. So Harbaugh reports directly to the owner.
Right, right. That was
right,
So that
the
so
reason
that
why.
goes so that goes right into what you were saying. Yeah, he doesn't report to anybody other than the owner. Joe Schoen would normally be his supervisor. So yeah, that was a big part of the negotiation. So you nailed that particular element of him not really wanting to be accountable to
right.
anybody else.
but you wonder though, why are they firing this person to hire someone else, or are they just eliminating the position? Because sometimes
Probably eliminating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I
What is
say
Harbaugh's title?
he's the head coach. I don't
He's the
think
head
he
coach.
became.
So
I don't
they
think he
didn't do
became
like
the
head
GM.
coach and VP of this.
Not that I'm aware of, but we can take a look at it. Keep going, Steph. Big dude.
Yeah. So where was I at? So I'll
Head
start with
coach.
Harbaugh. I think the Titans need a new start, and with Robert Saleh, he is. I think he's again him having the break he had. I think there's a lot for him to recruit. I think the Titans organization again they need his enthusiasm. The fact that he was with the Jets and went through kind of the blender, so to speak, with the Jets coming out of there and going back. I think he's going to be well prepared for the Titans. I don't see a big turnaround yet for the Titans, but I think the attitude, having a defensive mode, I think we'll be fine. And I think he's a person that will empower his other coaches. He looks like he can be a CEO type of person as well. I think I mentioned Stefanski, and it's going to be interesting because I don't. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did.
You touched on Salah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, he hit him with the Titans. I think it's a good hire for them. They need somebody that has the enthusiasm that is going to bring some hardcore, hard-hitting football back to the Titans. The Titans, every time I saw them, they just seemed like they lost a lot of that juice we used to see, from the Titans. Always in the game, always somewhere near there. They were kind of reminded me of kind of how Houston is now, and with the great defense you had Vrabel, right? That was the coach.
Yeah.
So they stuck with that particular theme with Robert Saleh, and I think now it's going to be interesting to see if Saleh can mentor their quarterback and to see how that works, because I think that they're not going to give this kid a whole lot more years. I think the other reason, real quickly, why Saleh I think is good for the Titans. One thing about some of the small market organizations, they will give the coach a little bit more time than some of the other coaches. And they're usually not going after a year. But when we start talking about some of the other areas, the Steelers and of course the Bills with opening, it's going to be interesting to see now that Dayball has turned down the Eagles, whether his sights are set to come back to Buffalo. That's what I'm wondering. Whether his sights are going to be set coming back to Buffalo. And for the Steelers, Mike McCarthy, I don't know if he interviewed already, but Mike McCarthy is one of their top choices. I think he either interviewed, or I think he's actually interviewing tomorrow.
Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, Mike McCarthy the Steelers have shown some great interest in him. And I think it's a good one, because I think McCarthy, again, coming from the Packers, going through Dallas, he's been through the mill. You got to be able to handle the Steelers in that town, that city, and give
All right,
them
let's hold up on the existing openings. We're gonna come back to the existing openings.
Oh, okay.
Big dude, you heard? Did you catch me?
Yeah, the existing openings.
Yeah, we'll come back to the existing openings. You good
Okay.
with the ones that have been that have been filled so far?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right, G, your take on the existing hire or the existing
Mentor
hires?
Yeah, Mentor. I actually think that was a really good get for a Baltimore. LA Chargers defensive coach. Defensive coordinator. I really think that that's going to be a really good fit. Stefanski, y'all know how I feel about him. So I think that is. I think that I don't. I think he's not gonna do well in Atlanta, and I don't think the fans are gonna.
Damn, G.
Be quite honest.
Wow.
I just really don't. Because I also am really wondering if they're going to actually ditch Cousins. And I think
I've
he
been
this
hearing that they're going to keep him now. It's what I've heard.
exactly. And so I don't know. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to work. Robert, how do you pronounce his last name?
Sala,
Salah,
Sala,
Salah.
Sala. Yeah.
Okay, I have mixed feelings about him. I know he's been a head coach before, but something he was an outstanding defensive coordinator. Came the head coach, crapped out. Went back defensive coordinator, became an outstanding defensive coordinator. Now he's back at coach. And I don't. Some people are just coordinators and are damn good at it. So that's what I take from him. So I think for Tennessee to do well with him, he has to change. He can't approach it like a defensive coordinator. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, are you saying that he should be more like a CEO
Yep, that's what a head
overall?
coach is.
What's that?
Yeah, yes, I think so. I think he needs to step back and be like, okay, um, I need to make sure I have good coaches around me for these particular areas and let them do their job.
Great.
So if he does that, because like I said, Tennessee, they got a lot of cap space, the number 4 pick. They got some seasoned people, get some seasoned people to put around Cam. It can actually end up being a really good situation in a couple of years as they build. But he has to be a CEO. And I kind of liken it back to some of my early leadership experiences where I tried to be when I was supervising directors and I actually was trying to do the job of a director. And then fortunately, I had a leader say, no, let them do their job the way they can do it. You're just making sure that they're not violating laws and things of that nature. So Robert Salah, I hope I pronounced his name correctly. That's what he has.
Sala.
Salah. So that's what I think he needs to do to be successful. Hopefully, one of the couple of the first things he's doing is actually reaching out to Harbaugh's of the world and asking them, picking their brain about how they did it. Get over his ego. Um, Cleveland, I had a note here that Mike McDonald he was supposed to interview with them, wasn't he?
Um, he may have, but I thought he took
He
a
said he went to Los
coordinator's
Angeles
job.
from what I see. But I thought that he was supposed to interview with Cleveland, but man, Cleveland is going to probably get a college coach from Division 3. Don't nobody want to be there.
All right, so
Um,
G, are you segueing into the openings then?
no,
Remaining
I'm just going
openings?
to end up with Jeff Halfley. I don't really know who that is, so you all can kind of tell me whether or not that was good or not. I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, we didn't really know him either. Green Bay, DC.
Yeah, and then you know how I feel about McDermott being fired, but we're getting to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I pretty much agree with you guys on the vacancies that have been filled, with the exception of, and I hate to say this because I'm not a fan either. I think Stefanski's going to be good for Atlanta if they can keep the defense on the trajectory that it'll be on. He'll clean up the offense and they'll be cooking. But G, you said something that I thought was really important, and it's one of the things that I've always been curious about with these head coach hirings is that a lot of the way that they approach this is, well, do we need a defensive oriented coach or an offensive oriented coach? And it creates conflict when you have a coordinator doing that same job.
Yep.
And I don't know how that's even feasible, to be quite
Right.
honest with you, to being effective at that. And I think that coach being able to be that CEO is super important. So I just wanted to touch on that. I thought that was a very important point that you brought up. I think that's going to impact how successful these hires are. But I do think Stefanski will be good for Atlanta. Baltimore, I think they didn't do themselves any favor, in my opinion, nor did Miami. Harbaugh will get the Giants straight, with the way that I think he approaches things. His coordinator hires will be crucially important. And Tennessee, I hate to say it, but I think I agree with you guys on Salah. I really like him,
Yeah.
but he's probably best as a defensive coordinator. I mean, he was thriving again with San Francisco, and it was totally opposite of the success that he had with the Jets. And he had a pretty good defensive unit with the Jets, but they didn't play like it. And I
Mm-hmm.
just think it's too much of a pull on a coach, going back to the, having a specialty. It's too much pull on a coach to manage a team and all the things that go with it, and then trying to manage a specific area of the team. I just
Mm-hmm.
think it's too much. So, but that's the nature of it. Most of these coaches do double dip. So we'll see what happens. With respect to the 5 remaining openings there, Arizona, Buffalo, Cleveland, Vegas, and Pittsburgh, some of the top candidates being discussed are former head coaches Tomlin, McCarthy, Brian Flores, Brian Daboll, and the highest attention being placed on assistants is Clint Kubiak with Seattle, Todd Monken, who was Harbaugh's offensive coordinator in Baltimore, and Joe Brady, who's the current Bills OC. Um, let's turn specifically to the Buffalo
One more
opening
thing
first.
about
Mm-hmm,
Atlanta that I forgot to mention
mm-hmm.
is that the word is that Tommy Reese
He
is going
did.
to
He did.
Atlanta.
He
This,
accepted it today earlier. Yep.
yeah, nah, that's not gonna be good.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I meant to circle back to that. Yes, he took Tommy Reese with him. And Tommy Reese wasn't a fan of Shador, I don't believe, either. So,
Well, he was there long enough to be involved to just see the dysfunction in the offense.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
So
we'll see. Only in the NFL can you recycle failures, and
you got that right.
they get these
Wow.
premium positions. Well, I'm wrong.
No. No,
No,
that
you're
that that,
absolutely
that
right.
kind of pierced me, pierced my skin. That's all. No comment.
All right, so let's take a look at, in terms of these openings, just because of all the drama that's been taking place in Western New York the last few days. Let's take a look at the Buffalo opening first, because the Bills are at a crossroads here. A team that's been a contender for the last 6-7 years. People say are close to a Super Bowl, being a Super Bowl team, but certainly didn't have the personnel this past year to achieve that. The press conference the other day was an absolute mess, exposing some serious dysfunction within that organization. Big dude, walk us through what the heck's going on in Buffalo and what's next for them regarding their coaching situation.
Well, I guess I'm not sure who they want, and I'm not sure who's the best fit anymore, especially with some of the people that you have available. I mean, and again, McDermott being a defensive guy, are we facing the same thing? Do they want the same style? I think, like I said, I don't think it's a bad idea for them to take another look at Dable. And you also have Matt. Now, did I see earlier? This is the last thing I thought I saw, Guru. I think I saw, unless I saw something different, I thought I saw before the show started that Brian Flores signed an extension.
You could be right. I didn't see anything. The last thing I heard was that Miami hire.
Okay, so we'll check on that. But when we start to take a look at who's going to be, for the team, especially the way the team is coming in, not even just the stadium, but the stadium is just, emblematic of how they need a very, very strong leader. And all these other people, a lot of them are specialists. And that's what kind of like G's saying. I mean, they need somebody somehow. This is what I'm saying. I don't know, who else that they would need. So somebody, they need a coach that's been around. I mean, some guy that's, been a quarterback coach and an OC in their 30s that hasn't had a whole lot of different things going on. They've got to be able to coach Josh Allen and other folks that are around. I think Daboll coached a number of people that have come in that have also, he's made tough decisions, and he's faced them with some of their issues, and also been there to work with, I would think, an organization that knows him. The question is, would they accept him? I don't know what's going on, because some of these other people, and I remember hearing Matt Nagy's name out there. I just don't think any of those other guys are strong enough to do this. I would say if they haven't already, they should really give Tomlin a call. I think it's at that particular point. Call Tomlin and see if he'll at least come in and talk about it.
Ooh, bro, that's a big ass.
Yeah.
Well, all the people that have been hired, plus the ones that are left, now Mike McDaniels, he's an OC now at the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know much about Kubiak. There's not much I could tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
Although that's Gary Kubiak's son, right? So I can tell you he has the pedigree. I don't know whether that's good enough. And I know the Bills don't want to play for a second or third place anymore. I know that. So it's got to be somebody that feels good about coming in and saying they're going to win, and they know what the needs are of the organization as things change and as things get to the next level. And I think Dable is somebody that they should be seriously considering and giving Mike Tomlin a call.
I never really thought Sean McDermott should have been fired. I mean,
I didn't like that.
Listening to the owner, the press conference, I'm like, dude, one thing that owner let me know is that there is some dysfunction at the top of that organization.
Yep.
So there's definitely some dysfunction. So there's part of me is like, you know what, Sean, you might be thankful that you're out of there. Not necessarily because of all the pieces that you had, but because you're probably dealing with some stuff that's behind the scenes. And now it's just kind of out there. So, I mean, I see that the owner and the GM are in cahoots in terms of throwing players under the bus, in my view. I do believe their sports psychologists or their sports psychologist team probably need to take a look at them, because you can tell me if I'm wrong, Guru, it's your team. A lot of the losses wasn't about talent. It was about decisions made on the field, largely speaking.
Yeah.
So I think that whoever they bring in as coach, when you think about how the owner and the GM approach this, when you think about just all the emotion was being so freaking good, but continue to fall short, you need somebody who's a calm and influence, someone who has actually shown that. And I think that is the type of person that would probably be a pretty good coach for the Bills at that particular point. A common influence who actually has some coaching skill. And I don't know who that is. It's probably, I mean, there are a lot of coordinators as I look who are out there. So that's what I think they need. And someone who's probably just not afraid to deal with the dysfunction. One thing
Interesting.
you know is the GM and the owner, they're throwing you under the bus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh man, my thoughts on their particular situation. At first, I thought maybe, well, first of all, McDermott's biggest failure, in my opinion, was that he never got that number one seed, which is interesting. In the last 6 years, as good as they've never been able to have home field advantage throughout, which sounds kind of crazy. But we'd always have those games that we should have won, and we would just come out flat. Like this past year, the Miami game, the first New England game, the Monday night game against Atlanta, Houston Thursday night game even. I mean, Houston's defense is a beast, but they made us not look like a playoff team that night. And that's problematic when you don't have your team ready to play. That's unexplainable, and that has to point to the coaching. For my boys, at first I'm thinking, let's get a offensive mastermind, right? That's what we need. But the more I thought about it, I'm almost wondering, and again, I love Josh, but I'm wondering if you get in an offensive guru, is their offense going to be too complex for him to manage? Because the reason I say that is the mistakes that he makes. Sometimes his football IQ seems off to me. And
Hmm.
you guys may disagree, but I don't know. He just does things at weird times to me that I'm like, dude, if you're paying attention to the flow of this game and what's important in this moment right now, like even if the coach is gonna be crazy enough to say, "Hey, let's see what we can do before halftime at that Denver game." You got to
Hmm.
be smart enough as the quarterback to be like, "Yeah, they can call this play if they want to, but we're not doing this." This,
Right.
if I don't see something immediately, I'm just going down, running out of bounds. This is done. Like, where was he going? We didn't even have any timeouts.
Yeah.
So my concern is that if we focus on offense too much, that it's going to be more of the same. We're going to always come up short because he may not have the capacity to do what we need him to do during clutch time.
Hmm.
So I think that Buffalo might be better off focusing on let's make our defense a beast because defense always wins championships. Josh, if he didn't cut out the mistakes, if he's just being the Josh that he's been with a killer defense, that would be good enough to win you a Super Bowl because they nullify some of those mistakes. Oh,
Hmm.
you make a mistake, we get the ball back for you. Nope, nope. It might get old in the locker room, but we got it. So I'm not sure about that. Um, I mean, the dude is an anomaly. I mean, he bring you down the field in 55 seconds, but then he gonna make a foolish play to give the game away. You never know what you're gonna get with him. We call it sugar high Josh. Are you gonna get sugar high Josh or cool calm Josh today? You just don't know.
Makes me think. Brett makes me think of
Sugar
Brett
high.
Favre, who's never seen a pass he couldn't make.
Exactly. And
Right.
in these playoff games, you got to protect that bad boy a little bit better than you've been doing. So anyway, I'm just wondering if they might be better off going after a great defensive coach, focusing on getting that defensive personnel better and trying to shut people down because Josh is going to give you some points, but he's also going to make some mistakes in the process. So that's my take on it. For these
What
remaining
college did Josh?
teams,
What did Josh go to? Was it Wyoming?
Wyoming,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So for these remaining teams, G, we'll start with you. What do you think they should be looking at in terms of direction of their coaches? Anybody that's still out there that you think they should focus on?
Hmm. Um, I don't know about a particular person, but I do believe they should probably promote a coordinator. I know they're saying that they're not using their old formula, but I definitely think that as for a general rule, that's what Pittsburgh should probably do. They've shown a lot of patience and willing to get players. They got a lot of cap space, so they can replace some of the old heads that may need to be replaced. And I think it'll also be good, to have kind of a new face, a hungry coordinator. That energy can actually provide, be a shot in the arm, to the current players. Las Vegas, that's you know, I think that actually I don't know what I think when it comes to Las Vegas. I mean, I know they're gonna go out and get Mendoza, so I'm thinking they probably want to rebuild their offense. That might be a good focus
Mm-hmm.
since they're gonna bring in Mendoza. They should go ahead and bring in those tackles and those guards as well, along with them. Cleveland, I said this before earlier. I said it again. They probably need to go get them a head coach from the group of five because I think that's the one who's want to deal with their bullshit. I don't know. You can't use those words on YouTube, can you?
Yeah,
Okay.
you good.
All right. So yeah, I don't know. I started off with this saying I honestly don't know particular coaches that I would put into these spots. So I'm just kind of giving my ideas of like if I were a coach, things I'm thinking about. Arizona has so many holes and don't have a lot of wiggle room. Murray is iffy, minimal cap space. but it has pretty good leadership. I think the organization is actually pretty good. So if they should probably find a coach that has vision, a coach that can, like, what, I can work with what we have, and they're confident that they can work with what they have, and could probably win over a locker room. So when I'm interviewing people, if I was Arizona, those that the human approach to the work. There's a lot of the questions I'm going to be asking when I speak to those other organizations. I'm trying to find those people who are really good at connecting with players, and I think Arizona will be fine with that.
Quick little bit of a diversion for Arizona quarterback situation.
Oh,
What do
Yeah,
you
man.
think? Because Kyler Murray's probably done.
yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. What happens with that personnel move and how that impacts what coach they're able to bring in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because Gannon was a DC, right? He was a DC for the Eagles, and it just seemed like Kyler Murray again, like you were saying, he was making some of those poor decisions himself. I mean, the guy could play a great game, but then some games he was just taking some crazy chances, and I
Well,
didn't
that's
quite
just it.
understand it, and it didn't seem to get really cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Aside him
Some of
being
these
hurt,
quarterbacks that get labeled or they are running quarterback, I think sometimes I wouldn't be surprised psychologically they feed into it themselves and feel that because they are mobile, they can always make a play, which invariably means you're going to make a bonehead play.
Mm-hmm.
It's for me, it's one of those deals, and I learned this early in my high school wrestling days. Is that it's not about how strong you are. It's about your skills. Just because you can outstrength most of the people, in your class, you need skill to rely on. And I think that's part of the problem with your Kyler Murray types.
Mm.
He has physical gifts, but it
yeah, but I
doesn't
mean,
feel.
it just didn't seem like he was really being coached. I just didn't, even with Cliff Kingsbury, who's
Hmm.
a name comes up every now and then for different things, but I just didn't see anybody holding him accountable to some of these other things he had to do as a leader. The guy definitely one of the most talented people to make some crazy plays, but then he makes some crazy mistakes on the other part. So
Hmm.
Yeah. Like he was just freestyling it.
yeah,
Well, he was.
he was. He was throwing across his body, and sometimes he was making those impossible passes. The
Yeah.
problem is when you do that 3 out of 6 times, you get picked off 3 out of 6 times.
You sure do.
Now, who does he have around him? Like his skill
Mar-
players. Who's
Marvin
he?
Harrison Jr., who's been a disappointment.
Hmm.
So some of that is also part of it. I mean, if you don't have people running who can run routes, if you don't have receivers who can separate, if you don't have, even for your short game, if you don't have backs who can get yards after catch, that's going to be tough on any quarterback.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it seems like to me that the pool of decent coaches is starting to dwindle down for these teams, and they better be very careful who they select because it'll set you back. They'll
Yep.
set you
Right.
back for sure.
Hmm.
I'm just saying.
Anybody,
So
any other? I'll say go ahead, big dude.
no, I just wanted to make sure that I am confirming from what I'm reading here that uh, Brian Flores did sign an extension to stay with Minnesota.
For Minnesota? Okay. I
Yeah,
figured he might. I
he
figured he
did. He
might.
signed a 3-year extension, and he had interviewed for both Baltimore and Pittsburgh's head coaching vacancies. He interviewed for both of them. So I don't know what happened because I would think that the next move would have been for him is Cleveland, but it seems like nobody wants to coach in Cleveland.
Yeah, and I think too, I feel like with these remaining teams, with the exception of maybe Pittsburgh, that they're gonna go with an offensive mind. And I think the DCs left are feeling that. Because why would you have not snatched him up already? I think they're waiting for Kubiak to be done with Seattle. The Bills are on Dable and their current OC, Brady, who Brady probably get one of these jobs if he doesn't get the Bills job. So I think they're starting to see the writing on the wall here because I'm thinking who's left here. Todd Monken, Harbaugh didn't pull the trigger on that yet. Another OC. I mean, those are the names kind of being floated around. So I think you have people that are above him in the pecking order, and the other DCs that have been hired. I'm a little bit surprised they picked them over him, but
I
yeah,
see here Eric Bieniemy was rehired by the Chiefs.
Yeah, which is it. He got
very
bounced around a
interesting.
little bit from UCLA to I think Washington, UCLA, and whose sideline did he end up on? The Bears, right? He was a
Yeah, and then
Bears.
no one's giving him a head coaching shot anymore. Now I heard he can be pretty abrasive.
Well, yeah,
but
that's what I was going to say, because Sean Foster actually fired him too. And I guess whatever was going on to Sean, you could see on the sideline, he doesn't take no for an answer. And I'm not saying just with the players, just watching his demeanor. You know, he's very strong. There's nothing wrong with having a strong personality, but it's all got to work together.
Yeah.
Man.
So this is going to be interesting. I mean, I know for my boys, this next coaching hire is crucial.
Yes, it is.
I feel like maybe the only thing that could save them is probably hiring Dable, which I'm not really big on. I don't want Joe Brady. Clint Kubiak seems to be the guy, but I don't want to just go with that because that's the popular opinion. I don't know enough about him.
Right.
Than his dad.
Right. Right. And it's getting thin. And Matt Nagy, he's probably I think the Eagles are interested in him as an O coordinator. Nobody's really, I think he's interviewed, but nobody's picked him.
Yeah, you might not want to do that, Steph.
Huh?
You might not want to do that.
Right, but I'm just saying that was the last thing I heard, that they're supposed to talk to him. Maybe
Me too.
I don't know whether they're going to find. I think he's the person that's interviewing tomorrow.
Yeah, I heard that too. But I'm thinking, damn, man, who's that lead for you guys as OC?
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens. You get stuck with a quarterback coach, and people don't understand that. You got to be able to call the plays and the flow of the game. But I think, as you mentioned something earlier, Guru, even as the offensive coordinator, you got to know what type of independence you have to run the offense. And if you're not being supported as a person, as an OC that is empowered by someone, the players aren't going to respect you either. That I know.
Nope.
We used to say that about a few coaches when we played, and say, hey, one guy who was a good coach of mine, he was actually very good, but when it came down to it, Joe took that wrinkled up piece of paper and started calling the plays. Like, oh man, let's go walk to the other sideline, man. Joe would say, I want the naked 32 naked shirt. I want the naked. Yeah, so if you think about that, just think about a whole house built on top of you already, and you're trying to hold it up, and then your quarterback says, well, I don't really need to listen to you anyway, because you don't really have the authority to coach me. These people, you don't come from being just a quarterback coach and being a technician and showing people how to plant to coaching this 26-year-old guy that's making $250 million. You just don't do that.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Yeah,
Any final?
But Cleveland, who's going to be brave enough to coach in Cleveland or Raiders Island?
I'm going to take a stab at it. Mike McCarthy.
Well,
and that might not be bad. I don't know, but
I don't think that's bad at all, to be honest with you, because he's the closest thing to an offensive guru that can be a CEO. Now, I would say don't have him come in there. I'm with G on this. Don't have him come in there and call the plays. But McCarthy likes calling the plays.
But you know what? Out of all these coaches, the descriptions, when I was looking at them earlier, Tomlin, considered a top CEO archetype. And none of these other coaches really had that CEO description. And Cleveland needs a CEO bad.
They do.
Dude, man, I'm only seeing him being interviewed by the Steelers.
Right.
Who,
That's what I was saying
McCarthy?
earlier. I jumped the gun, and I apologize for jumping the gun on this segment. I wasn't trying to lead us in there. I just didn't realize where I was at. I was kind of excited when I found that out. I was like, well, is he really going to be the Steelers coach? And I think that anybody that coached for Jerry Jones, I'm going to give them kind of a little star next to him about what they can handle.
No
And
pun intended on the
Stephen
star,
Jones.
right?
What's that?
No pun intended on the star.
Oh wow! Oh wow! I walked right into that, didn't I?
Jerry gave him a
Man.
little star in the exit.
Why are you so high on Mike McCarthy?
Who, me?
Yeah, and both of them.
I'm not high on him. I'm just looking at what the matches and what Cleveland might do. Basically, I'm not high on him.
Yeah.
I don't think he should coach again. I wouldn't hire him.
I'm
Right.
like,
You
how
didn't hear me say.
well
You
did
didn't
he
hear me
do?
say my boys, did you? Did you hear me say he
I
should
thought
take
Yeah.
my boys' job?
And G,
So I'm sitting there
what I'm
like,
talking
hold up.
about
I'm
is,
like, he did. How the hell did he do with the Cowboys?
You know why I
How
said that, G?
in the
You know
Packers?
why I said it? Because he
Or
can bring Cleveland up a little bit. Not that he could make them a contender, but he might be able to help the organization get some semblance of normalcy.
yeah.
maybe get him to 500.
Say it again.
Maybe get them to 500.
Exactly.
And I think he
Exactly.
can coach Shador. I think this is the type of mature man and coach that Shador needs to be reporting to. That's who Shador needs somebody like that.
So
Well,
why not
there's
hire him as
three.
offensive coordinator?
They
Nah,
can do that too.
certain coaches aren't going to go back and be coordinators. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
If
for
Mike
him it's
McCarthy
got
does that, he doesn't think too much of himself.
yeah, not that I want to work, like I said, G, just like you're talking about this older man, you ain't gonna come back and make me no director for nothing. You know, gotta be in
I
charge of
feel,
it. Not
I
going, not
feel
going.
you.
Same way with, people still want me to coach semi-pro football. They want me to be their assistant. I'm not being. I'm going to be owner and the head coach, or you can forget it.
Well, look, there's three names that a little bit of bubble is happening. Dan
Mhm.
Quinn, the Cowboys DC, but I think people are starting to dig in the crates now and trying to see what's at the bottom. Mike LaFleur, the Rams OC, another strong offensive coordinator, and Aiden Durd, I don't think I'm saying his name right. He's the Seahawks defensive coordinator, and they have him as a
Oh yeah.
rising DC though.
Well, the Raiders will take him.
The Raiders will take us.
Yeah, I know.
Head coach OCDC. We're headed to Vegas. No,
Oh, yeah.
I think the Raiders are about to change the game, man. If Mendoza is who we think he is, Raiders are about to change the game.
But I do think y'all are right about something. Some teams I would not be surprised are waiting for the playoffs to end because those defensive coordinators probably are being eyed.
And
Because
that's why
I
the
don't think
panic
any of
set
those
in.
coaches, I don't think any of the four head coaches in the conference championships, I don't think any of them on a hot seat, are they?
Nope.
No.
And that's why the panic set in. Remember, we went all that time, no hires, then Harbaugh and his crickets, and then all of a sudden, within the last couple of days, more positions filled. People are starting to panic now because they're afraid. I think that they know where these other teams are going to go. I think these
Mhm.
5 teams are all waiting for the same people, and somebody's going to be asked out. Because
Mm.
think about it. Big dude, you just said it. I think, G, you reiterated it. Nobody wants to go to Cleveland.
Nope.
So they're going to take a chance on an unknown probably because that's all that's going to be left. The Raiders, the
Without Tom
Cardinals,
Brady, nobody
exactly.
would want to be there.
Nope. Cardinals probably can't get anybody. In
Nope.
Buffalo and Pittsburgh are probably the most attractive jobs. So your best candidates are those two teams could wait. They know that they can wait and outlast somebody accepting the job with Cleveland, Vegas, or Arizona. There's no need to panic, especially if you want somebody that's still coaching. So
Yeah, Pittsburgh, Buffalo.
guarantee you, my boy's gonna make a mistake. Guarantee you, my boy's gonna make a mistake. It might work out. Like I think Dable could work, but it wouldn't be my preference.
What about McCarthy?
Mm-mm.
Who's the Giants' current offensive coordinator?
I don't know who their OC was actually.
Let me see.
Who's New England's coordinator?
Josh McDaniels, but I think he's somebody who knows that he's a career coordinator because he's been there, done that.
So, I mean, he did a good job, with that offense. Not gonna lie.
Somebody named Tim Kelly is the interim OC for the Giants.
Oh, okay.
Tim Kelly. Speaking of which, wow.
But it seems like they're going to hire Todd Monken, though, who was on Harbaugh's staff in Baltimore. Which would be a mistake to me, but hey, whatever makes you comfortable, Harbaugh.
And I keep hearing this quarterback, this Kafka guy. I remember he was a quarterback, being some type of coordinator.
Oh, Davis Mills, I keep hearing too.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. He was the former OC. Yeah. Well, yeah. Interim. Yeah. They fired Kafka, I guess.
I think the Bills
don't
are
even
going to
fire
hire
him interim head coach. I'm sorry, my bad.
So the two top defensive minds were Mentor and Flores. Mentor got a job. Flores is keeping his current one.
Yep.
The top offensive minds are all still left. Kubiak, Monken, Brady, and Dable. Monken's going to probably go with Harbaugh. So the top offensive minds left will be Clint Kubiak, who plays this weekend, then Joe Brady, and Dable.
I'm thinking some of these defensive coordinators that are still in the playoffs, their phones are going to be ringing as soon as they lose or after the Super Bowl.
There's no other DC that's playing. That name is on anybody's radar. It's all
really?
OCs. Yeah, because who are the teams? The Rams DC, I don't even know who it is, but their name's not being mentioned. Seattle's DC is that Aiden Durd person. They're a rising candidate, so possibly. Denver's DC, my guy, the brother.
Yes. The former, he was a wideout, right? Or gosh, I forgot what he played.
Yeah, I forgot his name. And then who's the other team? Who am I missing here? Oh, I don't even know who the Pats DC is.
No.
See, I don't even know who these other guys are. Their names aren't even coming up.
So what are some college football coaches that might get called up?
Anybody does that, they're crazy. I'm not a fan of that.
Why?
It doesn't work.
It really doesn't work out well.
Nope, doesn't work. Name somebody you work for.
I think we got
Pete Carroll. That's it.
I think Chris Shula. That's the D coordinator.
He is.
Yeah,
his name did come up. His name came up.
Yeah.
But Pete Carroll's the only person that it worked out for, and that was after a few tries. New England bust, Jets bust, and then he got the right players in Seattle.
Yeah, it didn't work for what they call him, Bill Believe from Penn State, Bill O'Brien. That didn't work with the Texans either.
Life coordinator. But look who's left, though. And I know we mentioned Tomlin and McCarthy. McDermott. You got McCarthy, Tomlin, and McDermott. Tomlin probably won't coach again. McDermott.
You know what? McDermott to Cleveland.
I hope not for his sake, because I like Sean. Anybody but Cleveland. I see him in Arizona.
That would be fine with me. See, and again, but that quarterback, I don't know what they're going to do. Whoever the quarterback is, he's got to have an OC that's a very strong. It's got to be able to coach. The X's and O's is one thing, but if you can't coach these guys, they'll know it. They can smell it from 2 miles away.
Where does Arizona draft? I think they're the third pick.
Yeah, they're up there because they didn't do good this year.
Yeah, they're the third pick. Biggest needs: quarterback, offensive line, edge rusher, safety, and defensive line.
Yeah, because they got some good people returning. I mean, I think if Harrison gets a decent guy, he'll be okay. And then you got the kid from Rutgers. He was hurt most of the year. We'll see if he comes. Max Melton. We'll see how that works out.
But listen to this, though. They have Jacoby Brissett, who didn't play bad.
No, he did not.
That could probably get you through if you can't, because I don't know who's going to be drafted after Mendoza, but you might be able to get by with Jacoby Brissett, and maybe you pick up somebody else in free agency, because who are the top quarterbacks that we know are coming out?
Y'all going to get Clint Kubiak.
That's what I figure. So these are the quarterbacks coming out. We know Mendoza's going to be gone, but this is the third pick, okay?
Your dude from
Ty Simpson.
Ole Miss is coming out. Yes, Ty Simpson's coming out.
Drew Allar, Cade Klubnik, Brendan Sorsby, I thought transferred. Trinidad Chambliss, Garrett Nussmeier's career is over. John Mateer's coming back. Who the hell? That's not a quarterback. I don't know where that came from. But I'm not drafting Drew Allar, Cade Klubnik, Ty Simpson, Brendan Sorsby's coming back. Not drafting Garrett Nussmeier. Mateer's going back. I wouldn't draft a quarterback this year. I'll roll. If I'm Arizona, I'll roll with Jacoby Brissett, get another veteran, get my defense up.
Yeah, I think Drew would be good for some. I think he'd be good for the Raiders.
But the backup, right?
Yeah. I think he could make the roster. I mean, I have a chance. I don't know how long he would be. He has to make sure his knee's good. You know, he blew his knee against who was that they lost to? The Northwestern.
Gee, why are you so convinced that we're bringing Kubiak now? What'd you see?
Just how he's worked with Sam Darnold and how well he's done with Seattle. I actually think he could probably work well with that offense in Buffalo.
Yeah, but can he coach? Can he coach
be a
Josh
CEO?
Allen? That's the question.
Can he do what, Steph?
Can he be a
Can he
CEO?
coach Josh Allen? Can he coach? Allen is a strong personality. Can he coach him?
Oh, I probably shouldn't say what I'm about to say, but I don't know how much coaching can happen there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know why, Steph? Because when this guy's on, how could he have a year last year where he didn't turn the ball over as much as he did before, and now we're back to this stuff? And it's not even like he's throwing interceptions, like the dumb fumbles.
I told you, y'all sports psychologist team need to be fired.
And now we need one worse than ever. I got my quarterback at the podium crying.
Yeah, you need a new team of sports psychologists.
We need a sports psychologist bad because half the damn team in the locker room crying and this and that. Come on, man. And then with McDermott getting fired, he's going to blame himself. How long before he can let that go?
And that's why when we started this, I said, looking back on those losses in the postseason, how much was it because of injuries versus poor play, poor decision making?
For him?
No, for Buffalo in general.
I mean, we definitely had key injuries, but I mean, it's not like we was getting blown out of these games. And I keep going back to the 13-second game. That's the biggest indictment on McDermott to me, the 13-second game.
Wow.
It doesn't get any bigger than that. Never have I felt at the end of any Buffalo game, as long as I can remember watching it, did I ever feel comfortable at the end of a game. In that game, after we scored, I'm like, we finally got him. 13 seconds? Come on, man. That's on McDermott. I'm sorry. That's on.
Was he calling plays?
You got to kick off, bro. All we got to do is kick off. What's the strategy?
Touche.
And there wasn't the kickoff rule, then kick it in the end zone, come out to the 20-yard line, and you're trying to tell me you're a defensive specialist. They got 2 plays at most. And after the first play, they're almost in field goal range. Give me a break, man.
Touche.
And I love the dude, man. Nobody loves the dude more than me. I think he's just a nice dude, but nice guys finish last, man.
Okay.
I hope he wins the Super Bowl someplace myself.
Basically, the Bills are cooked.
We're not cooked.
Y'all are cooked.
We're the only way we won't be cooked is if the guys, they got to get over this, man. Now you got to become a professional and you got to get over this because you're still close.
Your leadership is suspect.
Yeah, but you can, if we look throughout history, you can win minus the leadership. The Yankees did it. They were fighting each other in the dugout. The Cowboys, if you watch the documentary, was an absolute mess during those so-called dynasty years. You can win past that stuff if you're strong enough. And that's why they got to get all this crying and stuff. Hey, nobody more sensitive to me. Now it's time to get ready for next year. Let's get ready for OTAs.
Y'all are cooked.
Get the right play. I don't think we're cooked.
Yeah, there's going to be Buffalo burgers for everybody next year.
Nah, we'll be back in the playoffs next year. Might win the division. Make the right coach. Make the right coaching decision. You win the division.
Well, that's not wrong.
Well, I think if you have McCarthy, you're in the playoffs. I'm serious.
With anybody, not to down your comment at all, Steph, with any coach, this team should be in the playoffs. In the playoffs ain't good enough.
No, they have to get to at least the conference championship.
Like for me,
they made it to the conference championship, twice?
Yeah, for us to improve, the only next
step
in the
win the conference championship
twice. The next first improvement would be to be the number 1 seed. We have not accomplished that.
Nope.
And that'll be a start. If you can be the number 1 seed, then
hold up. I thought y'all made it to the championship twice, but lost both times.
We did.
Okay, I thought that was right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's what I was saying, but no, I see your point though about first getting the proper seeding.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I can see that. Play for the seeding first. So
basically, win your division.
You're blowing your conference up. So I get it.
Win your division. Win the game. You cannot keep losing games that you should not lose.
Mm-hmm.
Those 4. I wrote a Houston one out. We were 12-5. If you beat New England the first time, which they're good or whatever, but we still should have swept them. But take the New England one out. Miami and Atlanta. We're 13-3 then. And we're right there with New England. And we won the last game there. So we win the division. That's a 2-game difference just if you do what you're supposed to do.
Which I still go back, and there's no way for us to ever know. Y'all need a new sports psychologist team. Also, what's going to happen, whoever they bring in, they still have the history of the Bills hovering.
Well, that's one of the reasons they say that we shouldn't bring in Dable or Brady because they're part of that history. That's why they said we should go with an outsider.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
So that'd be the only way you could sell me on Kubiak. But I like Dable's the only one that could rein Josh in.
Right.
Need to be reined in.
That's what I think.
Yes, he needs to be reined in. Say it again, Steph.
No, I said that's what you said about reining Josh in. To me, that's the focus. I mean, I think we can, and again, the fact that he was with the Giants, you got to remember he's a different coach going to the Giants and getting his backside handed to him from up above and on the field.
Gee,
so I think this
Gee, if I bet you if we look at every game that the Bills lost this year, that Josh is associated with some mistakes that either changed the momentum of the game or cost altogether.
So when you say rein in, you meaning have his mind straight.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
He's not
dude,
making dumb plays.
it's third and 12. We're leading, and it's just generic game. We're leading. Punt. What did you know what Drake May was told? Every drive needs to end with a kick, bro. Extra point, field goal, or punt.
yeah.
I don't think you can rein him in. I just think that's who he is. I
And
mean,
that's the problem.
who was able to rein Brett Favre in?
And that's why that I said I think we need a defense. We need to build a defense for the ages because you're not going to rein him in. Because I think there's something in him that he starts running and he already got the first down, but then he's like, oh, I might be able to score. Oh, there go the ball.
Well, he's one of those gifted cats, and he feels that he can always make a play. That's just kind of who he is.
And I
And while
appreciate that.
you want that, but not when you're gonna go and make bonehead decisions at the most inopportune time.
I appreciate him wanting to do that. It's one of the things I love about him. But man, there's way too many times I'm looking at my TV. Get down, tuck the ball, slide, throw it away. There's too many times I'm saying that. Bro, throw that ball away.
Yeah.
They changed the rules so you can throw it away. Throw it away.
So that's the Josh Allen rule.
No, well, I think they did it before he probably came into the
Yeah.
league, but
Yeah.
I think it was the Tom Brady rule, actually,
Right.
not even being funny.
It was the Tom Brady rule. I think you're actually right. I think that was the joke at the time.
There's
can't
just too
remember.
many. There's just too. I mean, he might not see it during real time, but for me, man, I feel like I would. For me, I know at a point I felt like I was the best player out there, and then at a point I was not even close. But you know what made me probably better than a lot of people that had more physical talent? My football IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Situational for understand the game, the time, the score. Nobody's a bigger risk taker than me, but damn, you got to play within the confines of managing the game. Because you can give the game away doing stupid stuff.
How do you compare him to Jalen Hurts?
There ain't even no comparison in terms of that. Jalen Hurts don't do stupid stuff like that.
Steph?
Not. Man,
Stuff,
listen.
it ain't nothing to be said. He don't do that stuff.
Well, but if you talk to other people, they're saying that he's playing not to lose. So it's hard to tell because you hear all sides of it. They're saying that he should be taking chances like Josh Allen does, that he won't do it. And
y'all don't want that.
No, that's what I'm sitting there thinking. I'm like, Philly, they should be happy that they have a Jalen Hurts. They had other issues.
Well, I think they are. It's just that how Hurts is perceived, and that's a whole another thing. But that's why we need an offensive coordinator that's not going to rein him in, but that he can be confident in. Because if he says this play calling stinks, I'm just going to take it over. I felt like maybe he was listening 3/4 of the game. In the other fourth quarter, he's like, "Man, look, we can't run all that. Your plays are tired, man. We got to do something else."
You talking about Josh Allen?
No, it hurts.
Oh, Hurts. Okay.
Well, let me ask you this, Steph, because I know you were hearing the rumors that it's just very similar to what I said about Josh earlier. I'm glad that we went here because I didn't want to bring Hurts up as the example because it's just rumor. But it's like inside information, like coming from people that are on the team and close, saying that Jalen Hurts can only handle so much playbook-wise.
He can only handle so much playbook.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
It can't be complex. It can't be a complex offense. And that's why they're saying that's why the Eagles became stagnant.
And I don't know why people would even say that because football and the stuff that they're doing and the way they play it is easier than it's ever been done. They make it easier for you to you can talk to the quarterback through the helmet. They don't have a real big play sheet anymore, and things are a system more so than they are individual plays. So that's why it's very hard to find out what part is the quarterback and what part is a coordinator. And when we talk about complex plays, I don't know what they mean. Do they mean going to the line of scrimmage? You got choice plays that you can go call it based on the defense. Maybe some people are better than that, but I'm not so sure what that even means. That is
actually,
that's what I'm saying.
I'll clarify. I think they said that it's plays that he doesn't want to run, but they're
Probably,
plays
that's
that
what I'm
are part
saying.
of the offensive, that are part of the offensive scheme, that are a big part of the scheme that he doesn't want to run. So they end up running
I
other
don't
stuff.
know about that. I know there's some kind of disconnect, and I know he knows his tight end is a security blanket, but then like anything else, then you get some people who decide, somewhere you got to stop him and say, hey, look, man, you throw it to the tight end 7 times, can get it to the other guys. Now you got, that's another story.
And see, and that's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. What Josh? I'm almost wondering if Josh needs to be told. And I'm going back to that Dawson Knox play. Look, this is the play.
Mm-hmm.
We got our primary. This is what we want. Here's your second. But I'm telling you, this is going to be there. And I know Joe, I 100%, I think Joe Brady probably said this is going to be there. Because if you look how they break that play down, man, it couldn't have happened any better. He slid right behind the DB and was wide open. Josh was late on the throw. And that's why he had to make it such a tight throw. That's why he overthrew him. As soon as he broke behind that DB, the ball should have been out. But that was, to me, the perfect illustration. And every time I'm watching the games, when he stands there and holds the ball too long, I'm sitting there, and again, I'm at home. Ain't nobody linebackers chasing me. I got a different view of the game. But I'm like, Cook's open right in the flat. We only need 6 yards. What are you looking down the field for? I saw Dawson Knox or Kincaid's open right there. Take the 3 yards in the first down. He's always looking for something else. And I know they tell him, because they tell you that's when you first start playing football. This is any passing play. This is your primary receiver. If he's not open, then go here. If they're not, go here. How you forget that stuff? He's been playing long enough that it should be automatic.
Well, maybe he's saying something that says, "Well, hold on, wait. This receiver's about to break, and I can get more."
Yeah, but historically, he probably is. Gee, you're probably right. But historically, he's seen what that's gotten us, crying in the locker room.
He hasn't learned from it.
Yeah, it's got us crying in the locker room, using our 2 complimentary tickets to go to the Super Bowl instead of playing in it.
Wow.
So you truly believe McDermott should go because he can't handle Josh?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
I don't think McDermott should go because he couldn't handle Josh. I think McDermott should go because we've gone as far as we can with him, I think.
Oh, okay.
Like, think about Tony Dungy. I hated when Tampa Bay fired Tony Dungy. Like, they're about to win the Super Bowl. What happens? Gruden comes in, looks like a genius because he wins the Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's guys who were just about to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No doubt. But
that's why I feel like
at his own.
Exactly. That's why I feel like the same thing could happen in Buffalo if they make the right decision. Because we're right there. We need some pieces. Don't get me wrong. But this team overachieved, man. And I hated when people kept saying, well, this person's not in the playoffs, so Buffalo should. The team wasn't that good. I don't even know how we won 12, 13, however many games we ended up winning this year.
Defense was the fault, though.
Is it whose fault?
McDermott's fault.
No. I'm not saying it is. I'm basically saying he's done an incredible job with what we have. But I mean, come on, man. I go back to the 13-second game. I'm the coach. Think about this. If you were a coach, put yourself in this situation. You are a coach. Somebody tells you you're 13 seconds away from going to the Super Bowl. You are leading the game, and you got to kick off. There's 13 seconds. You don't think you could get out of that? I think I could.
You should.
Yeah.
An experienced coach would be able to get out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's to say that somebody didn't blow a defensive coverage? I mean, you can't account for that, I suppose, right? We give that the benefit of the doubt. But what type of defense are you calling that's even a possibility that somebody could blow that? You had two weapons, Kelsey and Cheetah, and both of them burnt us. Cheetah did it twice because Cheetah scored the touchdown that put them ahead in regulation that we even had to drive down.
I don't know. It's just that a lot of that, it's hard to parse for me. What's the coach and what's the team.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, when inside information, somebody might even understand that even wrong. It's I mean, things were so prescripted back in the day, and they just aren't. And who has really the authority? That's why when you start talking about an OC, who is an OC supposed to be, and how does an OC that, especially if you don't really coach anybody, how do you become a head coach? I just don't understand.
I tell you one thing that I truly believe. All the halftime interviews I've seen and different questions that McDermott has addressed with regards to, we got to be better with the ball. He's saying it very nicely. We got to do a better job of protecting the ball. You can't throw that there. Being very generic about it, but we know who's throwing it and we know who's not protecting the ball. And I feel like Josh's emotion in the last game was almost like, if you think about a kid, it's like my mother told me not to keep doing that, and I kept doing it anyways, and now this is the consequence of it. Like, he knew. That's why I think that he said that in the press conference, and I hate to put it on one person. It's a team sport, but my God, bro. Steph, you said it 2-3 episodes ago. There's 3, 4, 5 plays a game.
Yeah.
And he made all 5 of them.
Yeah.
That went against us.
I mean, you pick him out of that. That's what it comes down to. You could go on every play. One of the plays, like I said, and you went back to that fumble Cook had.
Yep, Cook fumble. I wrote it down. I said, watch this going to be a problem.
Yeah, that 3 points. That turned the game around. It was a heck of a play by that linebacker because he put his head on that football. Cook doesn't usually fumble, but they were driving, man, and that could have been – they're driving, and anytime you get stopped because of a heck of a – not just a heck of a play, that's a fumble that changed the complexion of the whole game.
And he almost fumbled again later. And then I don't know if you knew this or not, I found out, he's the Russian champion, but he also leads the league in fumbles by a running back.
Oh, wow.
Someone said, one of the announcers said that he had fumble troubles.
And I'm like, that's not good. The guy that you want, that's what we want running. It's 6 minutes left in the game. We're up. I need you running the rock, bro. That's killed his clock. And you fumble?
But here's something I'm thinking about accountability. When Tony Dungy left, he went to the Colts. I think he had a lot more control over player personnel, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing when Andy Reid left Philly and went out to the Chiefs. He had control over player personnel. My question is, what level of control did McDermott have over that?
Well, that's a great question because they're blaming him for any ineptness, right? They're saying, oh, well, he drafted him. And at the end of the day, you only have so much control, right? Because you're not managing the cap. So I could tell you who I want, but you have to tell me, I mean, basically, is it permissible based on what our money situation is, especially, specifically for free agents, right?
Yeah.
Buffalo's we got a problem with Bean.
I think that your owner really pretty much, spilled the beans, and that it was really y'all new general manager. He's the one that really built the team.
Well, it's on tape with him discussing picking Keon Coleman. It's a video of it.
Oh, he ran a 4.5 something.
Yes,
Yeah.
you saw it, but
Mm-hmm.
they just said McDermott wanted it. So why would you say that?
Right. Oh yeah. Yes. So I honestly believe McDermott is just a scapegoat.
Oh, he's absolutely the scapegoat. He's absolutely the scapegoat. And I
And
feel for the
for
dude.
that reason is why I think y'all are cooked.
Well, we got a very big chance of being cooked as long as Brandon Bean's in the building.
Yep.
And apparently we have an owner who is not attentive enough and knowledgeable enough to see that if this guy's in, I mean, is he going to give control to anybody? No.
Bean
Mm.
hell no.
And now he's got more power.
Yep. Yep.
So, I mean, anybody who takes that job with Bean as the GM and whatever his other title is, now president is something, then it almost tells us a little bit something about them because there's no way that they got control.
Yep. So what coach is going to walk into that?
Dable or Brady want somebody that's already been there or is there. Because think
Actually,
about
now
this,
that we
Joe
talked this
Brady.
through, I can see that now.
Why did Joe Brady even in? Think about this. You saw what just happened. You already are on the coaching staff. He essentially threw you under the bus too because he said the coaches wanted it. Why would you interview for the position?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. I'd be trying
So
to get the heck up out of there.
I'm trying to convince myself, G, because I know in the depth of me that you are probably right. But man, I just got to hold on to a prayer that yeah, Bean's a snake, but we can avoid the snake slithering and biting us
Bro,
anymore, because he's already bitten us.
y'all got a good Midwestern barbecue, buffalo burgers and beans.
That is our
Now,
basic diet out here.
you can. Now, is it possible for a team to come together with a coach and be like, forget this, we're going to do this regardless of. I mean, Dallas kind of did it with Jerry Jones when Jimmy was there because shit, Jerry was trying to be the man and Jimmy was like, I'll run this.
That's what I was getting ready to say. See, those two, I mean, they were college roommates and all of that.
Yeah.
They have a long history together, so that's a little different beast, don't you think?
Yeah, but doesn't that make it even more personal when it's your boy?
Yeah, I
Yeah, but
know.
you also make him listen to his boy more than someone who wasn't his boy.
But he
How
didn't
about Jerry
listen to
Jones?
him. Correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't listen to him.
But Jerry
Nope.
Jones got, I mean, but Jimmy Johnson got his way, right?
I don't
Mm.
know. I don't know if that's how I describe it. I think he
You
just kind
wouldn't
of did what he
describe
was.
it with those winning teams. He didn't get the people he wanted.
I don't know. You say get his way. I mean,
Yeah.
watching that documentary, I don't know that he got his way.
So,
Because do you know Jerry was going and getting players? Did you know that?
mm-mm.
Jerry was calling Dion's people and going and calling Charles Haley and
Oh, see, I didn't see the documentary.
you
Okay.
gotta watch
No,
the
I see it either.
documentary. You gotta watch. I know Eagles fans
What's
don't
the
want to
name
watch
of
it.
it?
I'm trying to
I'll
get people
watch it.
to, but it's
I'll watch
very
it.
good. It's
I'll
What's the
watch
name?
it.
excellent. It's excellent. It
What's the
is
name of it?
excellent. I want to say Cowboys Dynasty.
I'll
No,
look
no,
for
no.
it. It's not hard to find, I'm sure.
America's team, the gambler and his Cowboys.
Oh.
Oh, that's
I
a
mean,
name
that's
for
where the
you.
disconnect was, dude. I mean, he, Jimmy's winning chips, and Jerry want to be all. What did Suge Knight say? Jerry want to be all in the video dancing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was making the commercials.
He had his own show. What owners? Tell me what Pagula did the other day reeked of Jerry Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that.
God, how did we get in this situation?